If you're someone that thinks it's hard to like themselves, I need you to realize that it's a lot harder to not like yourself than it is to like yourself. I know it feels easy, but not liking yourself isn't easy at all. It takes a lot of work. It's a lot of effort to not like yourself, because it gets to a point where you're borderline convincing yourself that you don't like yourself, because that's really all it is. You're just convincing yourself. And for what? What are you gaining from that? You're getting pity points. You have people feeling bad for you. You might feel validated because people are understanding what you're going through. And I understand that validation feels good to an extent. But when you go home and that validation wears out, what are you left with? You're not left with that good feeling that somebody understands you. You're only left with that feeling that you hate yourself. You don't like the person that you are. You only go back to that feeling of, I dislike the person that's looking back at me. That's not an easy choice that you're making, because that's really all it is. You're making a choice. You're choosing to dislike yourself. You're choosing not to like the person that you're looking at in the mirror. And this is coming from somebody who's been there. I used to heavily dislike myself, and I know that hate is a strong word, so I don't want to use that, but I heavily disliked myself. I didn't like my personality. I didn't like the way that I looked. I didn't like my mentality. I really didn't like anything about who I was. And I'm not gonna lie, this went on for a long time. It went on for a little bit. I was constantly self-deprecating, until I realized I just had this flip switch in my brain. I realized it was a choice. I'm choosing to do that. In the same way that I'm choosing to dislike myself, I can choose the opposite. I can choose to convince myself that I like the person that I'm looking at. I can choose to make decisions that's going to further reinforce the fact that I like myself. I can choose to change my life at will. And that shift in mentality wasn't easy. It's never going to be easy. But I feel like nothing good comes easy. Nothing good or nothing worth doing comes easy. So yeah, it's gonna take a little bit of work, but I'm gonna try to show you exactly how to do that. I was inspired to make this video because of one of the friends that I have that constantly self-deprecates himself. He always looks at another person, says that I want his voice, I want his face, I want his personality. And he just has low confidence. He tries to convince people that he is unattractive. Even when you look at him, you're like, bro, you are conventionally attractive. People will look at you and probably want to look like you. Yet he would hear this stuff and still reinforce that same idea of, I'm a 6 on a good day. People tell me I'm a 6 on a good day. Nobody's told him that. He's telling that to himself. I promise you, this man is literally the most attractive man that I know. And it gets to a point where it's so unintentional, but this is what it comes off as, where this person is trying to convince you that they are ugly, convince you that you shouldn't like their personality, convince you that you should dislike them. And like I said, it's not intentional. That's not what they're trying to do, but that's what it comes off as. And it's so easy for me to just get frustrated at this person, frustrated at the fact that I'm constantly trying to validate your emotions, but still trying to uplift you, still trying to show you the realism in the fact that you shouldn't dislike yourself. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating to constantly have somebody come to you and convince you as to why you shouldn't like them. And then I had to show this person grace, because I had to realize that's exactly the position I was in when I disliked myself. I constantly self-deprecated. I constantly found myself in a position where I was trying to have other people understand what I was thinking about myself, those feelings that I had about myself. So who am I to get frustrated at a friend who felt the same thing that I felt? But that frustration comes from the fact that I know from firsthand that it is a choice. You can change that. You can like yourself one day, you can hate yourself the next day. It's all about your mentality. It's all about the way that you choose to view the situation. And thankfully, I chose differently. Thankfully, I chose to like myself. Thankfully, I chose to make decisions that can actually make me convinced that I like myself. But until my friend understands that he can make a choice, he will always choose that side of disliking himself. If you don't pick the choice of liking yourself, if you don't even understand that there is a choice, then you're always going to choose wrong. You're always going to choose to dislike yourself, unfortunately. That is your bare minimum. Disliking yourself right now is your bare minimum. So if you're not making the extra step to convince yourself that you like yourself, or make that extra step to choose to like yourself, you're just going to fall to the level of your practice, and you're practicing self-hatred. You're practicing self-deprecation. And I don't want to present myself as this perfect person, because I'm not. But I do want to use myself as a foil to this person. He chose to dislike himself, and on the contrary, I chose to love myself. I love the person that I am. I like the person that I've become. I feel like I've made amazing steps to become the person that I am today. That was my choice. I chose to love myself, and I still choose to like myself every single day. But when I think about this type of stuff, I try to put myself in a different perspective, and I question, Is it easier for me to like myself because of the things that I have in my life? I have a lot to be proud of in my life. I have a lot of blessings in my life. I have a lot of good things going for me. And I don't want that to come off as narcissistic because, like I said, I'm not this perfect person, but I'm not naive enough to not recognize the blessings that I have in my life. But yes, it looks like it's easy for me to like myself, but I don't think that's the case. And the reason that I don't think that's the case is because of a question that I asked myself. Do I like myself because of what I have? Or do I have what I have because I like myself and I've respected myself and loved myself enough to put myself in positions to get it and put myself in positions to become that person that I like or that I love? I would argue that everything in my life is a result of God first. Of course, God is always the first person that's given me the things in my life. But secondly, it's a result of me loving myself and me liking myself enough to put myself in those positions to get the things that I want. And I saw a comment that said, it's hard not to love yourself when you look the way that you do. I'm gonna put the comment up so y'all don't think I'm being narcissistic, but I'm looking at this comment and then I think back to all the times in the past before I started taking care of myself where people were borderline calling me chopped. I think that I am handsome because of the way that I carry myself, because of the confidence that I've built from putting in the work in the gym, from taking care of my face care, from taking care of my diet. That's why I think that I'm attractive. And of course, you might not think I'm attractive. I think I'm the most attractive person in the world, but that's just me. But anyways, it wasn't until I made a conscious decision to start liking myself enough to take care of myself, to actually be viewed as somebody that I wanted to be viewed as. I was viewed as somebody that girls didn't even want to be around. I had a girlfriend in 8th grade that, and I understand it's 8th grade, but still, bro, I was feeling it. I had a girlfriend in 8th grade that didn't even want to hang out with me, bro. Like, I was an embarrassment to be around. Then I started to lock in. High school, I had people that just didn't want me. I was chasing people. I didn't like myself enough. I didn't respect myself enough to take care of myself, and that reflected in the relationships that I had. And it wasn't until I started to make that conscious choice to love myself, to like myself, that the people around me started to follow suit. And this video isn't about looks. I like the personality that I have now. I like the humor that I have. I like the mindset that I have. And I don't have any of that stuff because I was born with it or because God said, you're the chosen one, I want to give you all this stuff. No, God put me in a position to work for that stuff. God put me in a position to earn that for myself. I have what I have today because I wake up and say, I like who I am. My choice. I made that choice to stop self-deprecating. When are you going to make that choice? When are you going to make that choice for yourself that you like yourself? When are you going to start making that choice that you want to stop disrespecting yourself? You want to stop skipping the gym. You want to stop letting people walk all over you. Because like I said, it's a choice. Do you like yourself enough to make that choice or not? That's up to you. That's your decision. When are you going to say, I need to like myself more than I need these people to validate me? Then I need these people to feel sorry for me. You don't need that validation. You don't need those pity points. You don't need people in your life to feel bad for you. The only person that you need to love you is yourself. The only person that you need to like you is yourself. Everybody else is an added bonus. And all of that added bonus is going to come together eventually when you start to treat yourself the way that you're supposed to be treated. And the question is never as simple as how can I like myself more, because there's a billion answers, but there's always a little bit of tips that you can get that can help you with that. And for me, that tip that I had was treating myself like I have a crush on myself. And this whole video, I'm going to sound so narcissistic, but I promise you it's going to make sense. But I show up for myself the same way that I would show up for that girl that I like. Or for you, that same way that you show up for a girl or a guy that you like, whoever it is. If this girl asks me to be at the gym, I'm there. If this girl asks me to eat with her, I'm there. If this girl asks me, hey, stop making that joke, I don't like that. I'm gonna stop making that joke. I'm done making that joke. If she asks me to hang out, I'm there. So when I think to myself, I should work out today. I love you, so I'm gonna be there for you. I like myself, so I'm going to be there for you. I'm gonna show up for you the same way that I was gonna show up for that girl that I have a crush on. In my opinion, that's the secret. The same way that this girl tells you stop making that joke, it makes me uncomfortable. You gotta start telling yourself, stop saying that you don't like yourself, it makes me uncomfortable. And you better listen to yourself like you have a crush on yourself. I fell in love with myself because I realized that nobody else has the capacity to love me the way that I do. I have an endless amount of love to give myself because I understand every single part of me. I understand every single version of me that's been through a lot, that's going to have a lot, that's going to be in a position where I can look down at that version of me that didn't like themselves and be like, I'm so happy I'm not you anymore. I'm seeing every single version of me, every single flaw that I have, so there is an infinite amount of love that I can give to myself that I could just never get from another person, unfortunately. And if you're listening to these things that I'm saying and you're thinking to yourself, it's still hard, and I don't know why I don't like myself. I don't know why I'm in this position where I can't stand the person that I am. And I'm going to try to put it this way. The people in my life that I love constantly show up for me. My best friend is going to be there for me whenever. My closest friends, they're going to be there for me whenever. I love the people that I can call and just get a response from. I can get advice from. So when I do these things for myself, it's no wonder that I love myself. All of these people in my life, these are the things that they do that I love. When I start doing that stuff for myself, I'm literally just conditioned to love myself as well, the same way that I'm going to love these other people doing that stuff. Now, here's some things that I don't like. I don't like the people that don't show up for me. I don't like the people that make me feel bad about myself. I don't like the people that make me feel like I'm disrespected, that say bad things to me. So if I did those things to myself, of course I'm not going to like myself, because I'm treating myself the same way that these people that I don't like are treating me. Think about that one person that's always talking and gossiping about that person that they don't like. In the back of your mind, you're like, dang, you're still talking about this person. You're always negative. You're always talking about these people that you don't like. And then you go out and you talk about yourself. You start being negative to yourself. You start talking trash about yourself. We all have these flashes and these outbursts of negativity. It just comes out in different ways. That person that gossips, they love themselves so much they can only talk about another person. And of course, I'm not saying that's right, but that's just how their negativity comes out. You don't like yourself. So the first person that you're going to start gossiping about is yourself. You're going to be talking about yourself to other people, constantly self-deprecating. And we've got to stop doing that. We've got to get ourselves out of that position where we are the only person bringing ourselves back. There are probably going to be hundreds of people in your lifetime that are going to disrespect you, that are going to make you feel bad, that are going to make you feel like there's no point in living. There's no point in you being one of those people. You better leave that stuff to them. You better leave that to them and then have that confidence in yourself that those people are wrong. But you're never going to find that confidence if you're the first person that's deprecating yourself. If you're the first person that's leading charge. Holding you back, that's their job. That's never your job. Never do their job for them. Because if they're going to be holding you back, if they're going to be spreading that negativity about you, they better be putting in some work to do it. And if you do it for them, what type of work do they have to put in? They just got to agree with you. But yeah, that's just something that I've been thinking about recently. I want to thank God for helping me create this video, because a lot of these ideas, he definitely helped me work through them. So yeah, I appreciate you guys for watching this video. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.